Is it? Did you hit go live?
Yeah, we live.
We live? We live?
How do we know we're live?
How we know we're live?
Cause
Are we really?
It says live.
it says live.
Oh, look at this.
We live.
Let's go.
All together. Let's do this.
Finally.
Yeah, finally. All live. Y'all ready to go?
Let's get it. Let's get it.
All right, we got us all together here at the Convene Communities headquarters. I appreciate everybody for watching us and checking us out. And all this time that we've been doing this, we started in December, gentlemen.
Craziest.
December.
It's almost May.
Yeah, it's almost May.
And we just met.
Yeah.
I just met Eric and Debo tonight.
Yeah. First
Is this
time.
the first time you met them?
Yeah, this is the first time we met.
Live.
This is like COVID redone again.
We knew each other.
Y'all knew
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
And y'all knew each other.
And me and Matt knew
Yeah.
each other.
Tonight? No. I'm saying they knew each other.
Yeah.
We knew each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we all know each other. We've been hanging.
Yeah.
We broke bread. We got coffee.
Got drinks.
Got drinks.
Yeah.
We ready.
Yeah,
Not
look,
sponsored by Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
However, if you like to be sponsored by Krispy Kreme,
Krispy Kreme, holla at your boy.
holla.
Yeah. Holla.
Charlotte.
Yes, sir. Well, look, hey, we're here. I'm going to put my phone in here in case we get some comments because we can't read that far up to the screen. So make sure to comment with us, ask us some questions. But look, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about it. This is the first time y'all met face to face.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of like COVID redone again, like when you used to have Zoom and you're like, oh, yeah, we cool. We know each other. And you show up and you're like, I know everything about you. Like,
Right.
it's cool. Like, let's just hug it out. Or like, you don't even go any farther. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I
I do
like
too.
my first time with my previous organization, we had to do Zoom from 21 through the end of 22, but we got together in New York City for the first time, and like you say, spending time on the boxes, you're like, I thought you were short. I
Yeah.
so tall.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were so
Everybody looks so tall on
Yeah.
the screen.
Yeah,
But
that's right. Well, hey, we're going to come together tonight and talk about what does this show mean? What does it mean to y'all? Because I think we get off, what y'all don't see a lot of times is we call it the after show with just us, and we'll get off and we'll stay on and we'll talk, amongst ourselves for a little while. And, I'll say this, the way this all came down and the way we started is Eric hit me up and said, hey, would you be interested in doing something like this? Got a friend named Devon, and this is kind of his idea that he really wants to do it. So you came over into the office, and this is all you. So we'll start with you. Let you chop it up, because then what happened?
Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
He was asleep with it.
No, but it was you. It was you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a great idea.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, okay, we got to bring my boy in, Josh. But what did you want out of this and everything? And why was this, on your heart to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think professional dads for me just means a circle or a place where you can come and where you can just be yourself. Like we have to remember that none of us have it all figured out where we have all the answers. And my kids remind me of that daily. That
a couple times a day, bro.
couple times.
All of us
that, that you don't have this thing figured out. And it's funny because this weekend we had all the kids together, so that was really cool and really great. But so I'm having conversations about what the next plans are, what you plan on doing for this summer. Got one's getting ready to go to the internship, another one's getting ready to move to some major metropolitan up north. So we'll see how all that shakes out. But I'm asking these questions that I think are just necessary to have some perspective on and to be able to think through. And my wife is just glaring at me. And so I'm thinking that, all right, I said, okay, I forgot that we're supposed to be in this whole passive parenting. And we just ask questions and we kind of leave it there, which is so atypical from how I traditionally was raised and how I've lived my life for the last 48 years. And so probably 50 years, actually. But you just have to rethink it. And the opportunity to hang out with these guys and bounce ideas off of them, bounce nuggets and say, and for them to tell me, to give me like that unsolicited raw feedback, as might want to slow your roll. And so, or you may want to ask, 5 more questions to see what the core is. And so just being reminded, having a network that you can kind of pull from and gain wisdom. It's so important to sit with that wisdom.
Yeah.
Because the power of communities is great versus the power of what you think you know.
Yeah. Well, we've gotten off some of the calls, like when the record stops and like, bruh, that hit me right in the mouth, or I didn't think about that. And I think that's the cool part with the fact that we have, Eric's got younger kids, and then I'm kind of in the middle, and then we've kind of got them scattered as far as ages of kids. It's like, man, I never thought about that, or I didn't even look at it like that. So that's the cool part of being hit you in the mouth with it. Like, no, you should slow your roll on that, or you should try this, or look at that. It's pretty. It's been and I know what are we on Wednesday nights? It was Thursdays and whatever night. It's my favorite time of the week. My favorite hour and a half or 2 hours of the week. Sorry to my kids or people that watch me online or whatever. This is my favorite time. This is my fellas right here.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
What about
very,
you?
very cool.
Yeah, so I go back to 2016 when we first met.
Yeah.
And you told me about Convene at the time, Convene Christians, and
Yeah.
then the evolution into Convene Communities, and how it's a big vision, big bold vision for you. And at that time, it was more just to get to know you as a person and know what you were passionate about. And this was a big deal. And then kind of like relationships, we go our separate ways, but fortunate that the good Lord brought us back together.
That's the word, convene, right?
See
That's convene.
this now take shape and has blossomed, and you've got a community of folks who are doing things within Convene, and it's like I wonder how proud you are.
Yeah.
To see
Right.
that happen. So it's ironic that we're together and we're talking about the journey, but really thinking about it from your perspective of the journey to get us here.
It's been a long journey, and it's a big vision to bring people together. But this is exactly what it's all about. And Josh, you just said it. We come from, we're walking together. We think we're walking alone, but we're not.
Right.
Right. We're walking together, and what's so wonderful about just the word convene is it means to come together. And I look at it as it's our way to support each other, and it's not easy. And I'll tell you, today, you two are here and you got here later, but my phone has been ringing off the
Life been lifing for Matt today, y'all.
We lifed it today.
Not even the whole day. Like the last 3 hours, you've been lifing.
Yeah, it's been lifing. It's been nonstop, but that's real, and y'all been here for me in the process, support me through it, and that's what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's as men, we get caught up in our day to day, and our families, and our kids, and our wife, and we.
I don't got no wife.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
I ain't got no wife.
But if you need,
All the single ladies.
But the thing is sometimes you lose it on men. You lose it on your on your friends and men to support you, and sometimes you need to just be able to turn to somebody and say, it's like sitting around the kitchen table and sitting around and saying, hey, if you were going through this, what would you do? And that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
That's what's good about it.
And all throughout I think it's cool too. Like everybody does. If you know me well at all, I hate group chat. Like we got our group chat going on, and there's stuff that's from like we're gonna pray for you, and it gets ratchet and everything in between. But it's cool just to be But it's cool just to be able to, we kind of keep up with each other. We all keep up with each other on social media and all those things, but it's cool for us to be like, hey, this is what's going on, or shoot a picture and go, man, we talked about this last night and bam, it happened to me again today. So still not you guys being in the same area, but not hanging out on the regular, and then me coming down and us still being able to just sit and kind of still continue the friendship, continue the brotherhood, continue the podcast or whatever throughout the whole week. It's just amazing. Very, very cool.
So they've been laughing at me because about that capital D diverticulitis. So I look good, but I don't feel so good. And it's
Struggling. My man struggling.
I'm
Prayers
struggling.
over there.
Help me out. But it was interesting when I left. Aaron was like, "Are you going to Winston? Y'all have that podcast tonight, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be." And she said, "Well, have fun with your guys and stuff. You actually like that, don't you?" I said, "Yeah," because I knew that I was going to get an extra gear.
Yep.
Despite how I might feel,
Yeah.
no one's going to get around you guys. I was going to take my mind off of how my body feels, because like it has actually done something for us in
Yeah.
our house, because I look forward to this. And now she's partnered up with it.
That's
Like,
cool.
hey, man, get to Winston because you got your podcast.
Yeah.
I said, don't leave the light on for me.
Who knows what time I'm getting home? He'll be home, Aaron. He'll be home. He'll be home. He ain't gonna be late.
But it's
Yeah,
all of that is like not just the journey we're on, but now spouses and
Yeah.
spouses on the journey too, because they know this day's coming and what it does.
They know what we're doing.
What it makes, how it makes me feel. You know, it's big to be on the journey with you guys.
Well, like you said, it's cool just for us to do. It's like, okay, this is our thing, right? It's a guy's thing. But when you got your spouse or your kids being like, hey, you're gonna be late for that podcast, or aren't you doing this? That's when you know that your attitude or our attitude before and after the podcast, and then how we are all week, and whether we say, man, I talked to Matt, or this came up, or whoever it is, it's like they're listening. So not only are we, again, like you said, impacting each other and who's watching, but people that we don't even know are watching.
Yeah.
Like, I get one more call from my mom that says, hey, I heard what you said. Do you really think that? Like, Mom, this is men time right now, Mom.
Keep joining. Keep joining.
Keep joining. Send it to your friends.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, and to that point, like I know in our household, like we'll be having a conversation, and I feel myself starting to slip, and someone would say, "Well, hey, did y'all talk about that on the podcast?" And it kind of brings me back because now I think they're using that as a little leverage, which is a great checker for me to be like, okay, you're a little bit outside of the scope now. You need to kind of rein it back in. You need to make sure.
Didn't you say you wanted to work
you need
on that on
Correct.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, so now you are
Yeah.
holy dad, and now all of a sudden you just talking out your
Listen,
right
you
cheek.
can't be holy on Thursdays at 9 or Wednesdays at 9. It's
Yeah.
Saturday at 3:15. You got to do that then too.
all
Yeah.
that, all
Yeah.
that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's what, and I think it goes back to what you were saying too, with what Convene is about is walking on the journey, and everybody has a story. And the fact that it's, and I speak for myself, and we've had the conversations on and offline, the impact that this hour and an hour and 45 minutes has made on our lives personally, and then each other's conversations, and then our families and our friends. I mean, like, hey, I saw this the other night, or DMs that I get on social media, like, hey, last night was amazing. From women too, because this is not, it's us, professional dads, but we talk about relationships and parenting and work and all those things. And like, hey, this helped me with my son. I'm raising my, teenage son. I didn't know that you guys thought like that.
Yeah.
So it's the ripple effect is really, really cool.
And to that point, I was just on a call, I think Monday night, with one of my really good friends in Chattanooga. Shout out to Marcus. And we were finishing our phone call, and he said, hey, I want to hear more about that podcast you're on or whatnot, because we had talked about recruiting
other people.
dads.
Yeah, we want other people.
And so to get a perspective, there's guys out there that I've told Matt about that for some things that they've gone through, some stuff I don't know if I could ever go through. That is starting to spread. And
Well, it's surprising to me. Like you said, it's surprising to me how many people are watching. That you don't, just random phone calls that you're having. And, I got a project going on. Somebody's doing something for me, and he's not even a dad, but he said, hey, I'm enjoying watching the podcast. And he's like, hey, I'd actually like to get together and help y'all do some promo videos and stuff like that for it and all that. So it's impacting not just dads, but it's impacting men. And that's what we want to do. We want to bring everybody together. We want to impact men. There's no, like we talk about, there's no book, recipe book for marriage or parenting.
Yeah.
And
and I think it goes back to like it's just, we just said, the amount of people that it's impacting. You got silent watchers out there that are just going to watch. And it's almost like going to church and you're like, I didn't really get much out of this message today. Somebody did. But when you go to church and you feel like he's talking right to you or she's talking right to you, like, I think that's where this comes into play. It's like, oh, they're talking about teenagers because Eric's kids are younger, or Debo's kids are older, or Matt's kids are older. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with me. And then something gets said and a perspective, and it's like, oh, okay. And now all of a sudden you're engaged in. That's what we want. I think that's where the messages that I think we've all got is, you guys are funny. First off, we're funny.
we are funny.
We are hilarious.
We
But
are funny.
it's real stuff. Like,
It's real talk.
It's real talk. Like, we're not holding anything back, or we talk about just about everything, and it's real. There's no show. We're not putting on a show.
Yeah.
We are the greatest show on earth.
Right.
Because Barnum Bailey's gone. But
The journey conversation too, to me at least, says it's okay to convene with other men, so you don't feel like you're on an island by yourself.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think about all the time. Whether I think about it in proximity to home, other men that I'm meeting in my neighborhood,
Yeah.
other parents. I think about the swim team that Ethan's about to be a part of. I'm looking forward to men that I'll be meeting there. How much of this could impact, and to know that you're not doing it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that gets me all the time. I wonder if I feel like I'm on an island.
Yeah.
Well, this reminds me I'm not.
yeah,
Right.
And hopefully the influence as we continue to grow is just have men talking to each other. That's okay to connect. You don't have to feel like you're living in silence, whatever your challenges or struggles are in your home, or even things that you should be celebrating. Tell people, you don't have to hold that back. And I think we're creating.
Well, we have done that. We've done some celebrations and talked about our kids and great things they're doing. That's part of being parents, right?
Yeah.
You're proud of your kids. You're proud of things they're doing, and we want to be able to talk about it and not worry about it. He's talking it up and being judged. No, we're proud. And
we talk about the messed up stuff they do too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. No, we talk about that too.
Yeah. Hey, so I got a question for you. What's your favorite topic that we've hit so far? If you don't, and what's been the most impactful to you? If you can pick a couple of things.
So for me too, to come off top, because I almost want to talk about finances. I always love talking about finances. That was a good conversation, and it has caused for me to have a time with the boys on Saturdays that we're now starting to talk about savings and other things that, because of course that's really important for me for them to have a legacy, leave a legacy, but then make it generational and giving back with service. It came up in our conversation about spring break when we went out and did that community service and fed the homeless last week. That was big. But then the session we done on vulnerability, for me, I tell you, that was my therapy session because I was going through some stuff that time.
Yeah.
And I remember wanting to come and express what I had felt, took away from that. Aaron was asleep, so I waited till the next day. I said, you don't know how much therapy. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
And I really feel a lot better. So those two stand out to me, but there was a moment. So it wasn't in the same sessions, but the moment where you shared about your father and him putting his foot down to racism, and where he was not going to stand, and that imprint that had on your family,
Absolutely.
and that was big to me because there's sometimes when you feel like you're gonna live in silence or just you're forward no more, close your door and just kind of let the world happen. But he took a big bold stand.
Yeah, he did.
And that stood out to me. And that I don't remember what session it was, but
It was right off the bat.
Yeah, I think that was first or second.
Yeah, that was bold.
Yeah.
That was big.
Well, I'll say that I think that's one of the, to talk about racism and stuff like that is, if you watch, you'll see us joke about it, moving people around the thing. But I think that's one, if you look at us, we're two white guys, two black guys. And I think that's one of the best things about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that I think it's very important for us as men to set that tone out in the society that we have today.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we're doing it because, we're men. We need to all be there supporting each other. And I think that's one of the strongest points about this show that we got going on.
Yeah.
Is
So
that's what we're doing.
tariffs.
Never mind.
Yeah,
I was going to say something I saw today, but it was a social media. A girl was talking about tariffs, but it's inappropriate for this show tonight. Yeah. So,
but no, so that's good to me. But for me personally, I can't even pick one out because I think it's every day. And I think what I like to see is like what hits me is when we go through a show and we come back the next week and somebody talks about the impact of the change
immediately
that week, and I think not to pick on you, but I think for you where your boys are, you're getting a lot of impact from this. And I love when you come back and tell the stories about, hey, based off the conversations that we had, these are the things I've been doing with them. Because I think the show is opening your mind.
It's a test case.
It is a test case.
You've got three of us that have done what you've done in probably three different ways, but hundreds of different ways. And you're like, all right, I don't even know. I haven't even gotten here yet. But you said this, you said this, you said this, and now I can look for that. And it's almost, like you said, it's immediate impact. Immediately that next week.
I saw it tonight or this afternoon. with Braden on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I met Braden in 2016, and still in college and whatnot. And just that moment of talking to him tonight was just like, wow, Dad.
Yeah.
Pop your collar.
Yeah.
Because you see when I'm like, wow, that dude is getting it in. He's doing really well. But that's you. That's
Yeah.
just, I mean,
Well, and
that's
it is cool to see because, we're all at different stages of parenting.
Mm-hmm.
We're at different stages of parenting, and that to me is, I can talk about the good things I did, the bad things we did. We don't all do everything perfect, but if you
No.
hit those goods and bads and say, hey, don't do this, or we did this and it didn't quite work out, then that's important to pass that on. And so there's so much of that out there that's why we want this to grow, because there's so many people out there that have good stories, have good things they've been through, but they also have the bad things they've been through, and they can contribute in this and in our community that we're going to be, growing on Convene for dads, and they can say, hey, don't do this or do this, so it's really sharing the knowledge with each other.
I would throw this back to Devo when we first set the stage for the journey. How proud I am of you for being persistent and wanting to continue this, because you remember in the summer we did it like 6 segments, and it's like, well, just test it out, see what it's like, get people together. I think one person might have been in their garage, it was just kind of bootleg, doing what we could do, but you had that dream, and you saw that this was a need, because men need to be more expressive and talk about some of the things that they're doing, and again, realizing that they're not on an island by themselves, and they can pick and choose some of the things that other men are doing for their families. But I do remember that, because at that time it could have easily been 6 segments over and then we're done.
Right.
But I was like, man, I need to introduce you to Matt, because I think there's something there, and certainly because of what you.
Good job, Devo.
Good job, Devo.
Devo's the reason we're all here, y'all.
Yeah,
I
Devo is
accept,
the reason.
I accept
I accept that.
But on that same vein, I mean, we've been rocking for a minute, so like we know each other in and out, and so I think part of this whole podcast, this whole Convene, this whole fellowship, is the need for men to have other men in your lives, because the devil wants to really sell us a lie and have us think that we're by ourselves, and we buy it, folks. Like we buy it, lock, hook, and sinker, where we will stay in our silo and we will be like, man, why is this happening to me? But yet you won't walk across the street, have a chit chat with your neighbor, or circle back around, talk with your non-drunk uncle to get some good advice. And so it makes sense to have.
You'll talk to the
like
drunk
this.
one all day.
Yes.
The non-drunk one, not want to hear that.
But maybe you shouldn't follow that advice. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't met him. So,
Yeah.
but no, we need this. Like, we need this. We need this. We need this. And this is kind of like church camp for me. Like, each week I get to renew my soul.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. It's tough. And growing up, we all have family issues. We all have family things that happen. And sometimes, there's good relationships. Sometimes there's positive relationships. But what exactly is that, right? I really don't even know how to quantify it. But I do know, growing up and having this whole education experience, I've seen a lot of kids who just hurt. And it's a lot of moms who are just stepping up and doing double duty and killing the game. So congratulations, sisters. Keep fighting. Keep doing what you do. But as men, I think we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And push ourselves out there, because we're all battling the same demons.
Yeah.
And if we would open up our mouth and ask for help or share our situations, then we probably could become more empowered, or at least feel a little bit better by getting it off your chest, even if you can't solve it immediately. And to me, that's what this has been. And we talk about your favorite segment episode. I don't know that I can name just one, but to me, it's been the whole process of transitioning. Like I've always had such a authoritative figure or commanding presence, at least I think I have, in my head, from being a principal and just being responsible for so many different things. And that's really what it is. Not because I want to be little dictator or I want to be the president. Or it's not because I just want to rule everything. It's just the fact that now it's time to grow, and it's not about trying to keep your finger on someone and direct them, because eventually you got to cut that cord, and they have to go out and they got to think, and they got to be able to respond. And they got to adapt is the most important thing. Like, how do you handle a stressful situation, or how do you handle when you get your first job and then they tell you they don't want you anymore? Like those are just real world things. And if you have someone who's always driven the ship for you and never allowed you the opportunity to drive, it's tough. They set you up for failure, right? Absolutely. So,
well, if I talk about my favorite topic that we keep hitting on, and we hit on it quite a lot, is as parents and nowadays and dads and all that, we're protectors, we're fixers. I think the problem with society today is that we overprotect our kids, and everybody talks about it. Everybody talks about it a lot. Is you have to let your kids fall down and skin their knees, and we don't want them to skin their knees. We don't want them to get hurt, but they have to fall down just because, like what you said, is when they get out. First, when they transition where your boy is now, and Ethan is now, he's going from elementary school to middle school. Well, guess what? He's going to go from middle school to high school. Then he's going to go from high school to college, and then he's going to be out and getting the job. And so, and he's on his own. It's our job to prepare our kids, whether it's a boy or girl, it doesn't matter. Prepare them for life. And if we're not doing that, we're doing them a disservice. Well, guess what? There's a lot of disservice going on in the country today, in my opinion, because parents want to overprotect, and we can talk about these things. And that's one of the things I like to talk about. When do you let them get a phone? When do you not let them get a phone? How does it work? Well, it's up to you to understand that this is how these kids communicate today. So it's so hard. Parenting is hard.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's the journey.
It is a journey.
Everything that you learn is the journey. And I think I fall in love with Erin every day just for something that she's done or said to those boys, or something that we learned together, discovered, how she stepped up on things where, I couldn't, be available or whatnot. She's, running the world, and I'm trying to be available or part of my therapy session. But we do it together. And we're trial and error. The boys are still adjusting to things, and they're happy. Yeah, that's really what you want at the end of the day. I don't talk about work all the time, but I had something happen today that was just like, it was a moment where I was just like, wow, I feel really proud. I had a prospect come in with his dad, and we usually don't have that. Usually just have the prospect, whatever. But he asked me, could he bring his dad? And I just stopped for a second. I was like, can I just say that I hope my sons want to come and have someone talk about shaping their finances, and would be okay with me being in the room with them, or would have the confidence because I prepared them or whatnot. And I just had this moment where I was just proud of them that they came together. It's like, 80 years old, and you're still 10 toes down for your son while he's on his journey. And so I thought that was a moment, but it was, my mind was on tonight and my boys, and thinking like, man, that's where I don't want to ever miss an opportunity. Or that even though, like you say, they're going to go from middle to high to college, and then going to be gone, I want to be there. As long as I'm living, I want to be there for those moments. And that was a moment for me that I, even though I was on the other side of the table, I would have loved to have been on that side with my son. Someone imparting.
But now that's an experience you got to witness, and then one day you can do
firsthand.
it. You'll be there for it.
That phone call, I'm telling you, you and Braden chopping it up. That was good to see, good to hear. Because again, I'm the caboose of the group. So I got the kids that are at the end, younger. So I'm the caboose. So I get to learn. I drop the crumbs and I pick them up, and I get to kind of reflect on what y'all have done and got to see. And so a lot of times I feel like a visionary. I'm looking into that future. And I'm seeing how y'all labored and how you teamed together to make things work. And obviously, I know Heather better than Tisha, but I know she's 10 toes down with you and the girls, and it has been the cornerstone. And a lot of the things that the girls have done has been because of Heather. And being able to know that and watch that, and you can have pride because of your partner and what she's done to kind of hold down for your family.
Well, we talk about this, and we talk about, like, as a dad, and it's very hard, and we've talked about this quite a bit. It's very hard as a dad to, sometimes there's separation. They're going to, your girls and even your son, they're going to call mom, right? They're going to call mom, right? That's
Well,
what
that's
phone
my
calls
that's
do.
my worst and favorite topic. That
Yeah.
because it happens. Like what? Well, you got it. We did
Well,
it
today.
live, and it's to you today. It's like
Well, you saw, but I was going
I
to bring
saw
it
it.
up. What
Yeah.
did you see? I was on a Zoom
Yeah,
call.
like we're
and
sitting
that phone
here.
rang and it
Phone
was
rang,
rainy.
Like
and
I gotta go. Lady gotta go. I'm like, what? Am I supposed to? You want me to jump on? Like you know, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? But it was like you know. I think that's the thing. You say it all the time, whether we're on here or to me or to all our group chat. It's when our kids call us as dads, we take it to heart. Like I take it to heart. I don't know if y'all do. I think we've talked about that. We do. Like, hold on a second. Like I said a story about my son,
This is
like
great.
decorating his room at my house, FaceTiming his mom to decorate it. I'm like, bruh, like our place is decorated. I did all that. And I'm like, why are you calling your mom? You saw her house is not, that whole thing. I'm like, why didn't you call me? He's like, I don't know. She called me, wanted to do this, and this. And I'm like, man. But then when something like that comes up, it's like, okay. Or when he's, hey, I made this team, or hey, Dad, this happened to me in my game today, or hey, what do you think about this? I think we take it to heart, and I know I do, of why my kids don't call me, or man, I don't hardly talk to them as much. They call their mom, all that stuff, and I get that's a moms have that different relationship than we do. But the most important thing I think for us as dads is that we do answer that call,
Yeah.
or we are there when they do need us, because that's when they're like, okay, this problem. And I looked at it today with you, and I saw it. You said with Braden, the problem's so big, the only person that can fix it is my dad.
Yeah.
Like that's when you ran out today, and it just popped because I thought it today. I'm like, I'm gonna bring this up tonight. I just thought it back up. Like Laney's problem was so big today. Not that Tisha couldn't help it, but it's like that's where that dad comes in of like this, or like I need to call my dad. So I think that's the bigger perspective. I think that I've kind of taken away is, yes, is it going to hurt? Yes, am I going to get jealous? Yes, am I going to get irritated? But when he does call, when she does call, it's like, okay, everybody on the planet I can call, but I'm calling my dad.
Yeah. But I'll tell you another cool thing that happened is when she was done with me, Mom was working.
Right.
But when she was done with me, because I wasn't giving her all the answers, I was giving her the dad answers.
Right.
She called Braden.
Right. She called her brother.
She called Braden and
Right.
Riley. And that says something to me because she can turn to her big brother.
Yep.
She can turn
Which is
to
huge.
Riley, and she trusts them. And she can't go to me. I'm not giving her all the answers she wants. I'm going to give her the hard facts, reality. You need to.
But that rolls into what you just said. That still falls back on
That
you.
still falls, well,
That
it
still
back
falls
on-
back on you
Well,
and
me and
Tisha.
Tisha.
You and
Me and
Tisha.
Tisha,
That still falls back on you and Tisha. Like, hey, I'm gonna call. Like, I need money. I'm calling Dad. I got this problem. I'm calling Dad. Mom, I need to talk about this. Oh shoot, they're not giving me what I need or what I think I need. I'm calling my brother or my sister. But it still falls back on Braden's going to give her advice because he's learned from you, and I think that it all just comes full circle. So I think
Well,
I'm with you on, or both of us, everybody kind of I don't really have a favorite topic. I know I led the social media one because that's kind of what I do. And then you pull it back and you're like, those boys ain't getting no phone. They ain't getting this, they ain't getting that. But I pull it back some because I talk to Matt every day. I don't talk to Debo. I just met Debo, but I'm sure Debo's got stories about social media stuff too because your kids are older. And then it's coming down to you and you're like, I ain't gonna do that or that or that or that. But right. But I think it would have been, you guys said it too. Men just realize that we're fixers. So if we can't fix it, we just hibernate and hide and we get pissed off and we get mad and we're like, well, I'm not talking to nobody because I can't fix it. I don't want to tell Eric that I'm a crappy dad in my own mind. Like, hey, I can't fix this problem. I know he can help me or he's been through it or Matt can do it. I'm just going to hold on to it. And then that destroys all the other relationships in your life, spouse, girlfriend, kids, co-workers, whatever it is, instead of going, Eric, bro, like Devo, like, hey, I'm struggling with this, whatever it is. And then taking yourself off that island and I'm bringing you on the island. Bro, I don't know. Let's call Devo. Oh, no, don't call Devo. Oh, Devo's now on the island. Then it's like everybody's on this island, which is what we're trying to do is realize that, hey, we're all in this whole thing called life together and we're not walking alone. Seems like it, but we're just trying to pull each other in and go learn from experiences. And, it's real. That's what it is. That's what it's all about.
real life, Real people, real experiences.
We real.
Who came up with that?
We real.
Such a tagline.
That's the funny part is you said that. So y'all, we were sitting at at dinner or whatever, and Eric, I think you would go on the phone, and Eric's like, Eric and I are sitting across from the table from the head, man. He's like, bro, I can't believe we here in real life. Like
Yeah.
we're like in the flesh, and I'm like, yeah, we're in the flesh. Like that's so cool to be able to, social media wise, Zoom wise, whatever it is. And then you meet people, like you guys know, like I go out and meet people all the time. Like, hey, I'm in town, let's go have coffee, whatever. I love that. Men, women, children, like whatever, like let's go meet as a family. Like I love that. But the fact that we've been able to do this since December, and like, okay, I don't know this fool. Like I see him dancing around like an idiot, or I see him with his kids, or I see him like whatever it is. And then we've created this bond for, we're almost May, 5 months of this bond, and this is the first time we're meeting, and we've had a successful podcast, impacted lives, and impacted each other's lives
That's why
is huge.
I'm a fan of the quality of time and not the quantity of time, because
Yeah.
you get really caught up in thinking, well, I got to know you for a year, I got to know you for 2 years,
Right.
but I can make impact immediately in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Where we know we're going to be brothers for life.
Yeah.
That happened to us in the circle at RE training. We knew it clicked. It was like, hey, I think I made some of my fat brothers mad. I was like, oh, man, but that's clicked.
I make Tisha mad 15 times a day.
Man, if I keep buying Air Jordans, I'm gonna get
Shout out to Nike because I'm keeping y'all in business with Matt. Sorry, Tisha.
But it also comes down to you made a considerable sacrifice. I come from Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal,
That's
because
what's
that
fun.
shows your commitment to what we're trying to build and establish, that it was important enough to you to be here, and that's big. And I think it's more in addition to the journey and not feeling like you're on an island as, but it's also just not being paralyzed by embarrassment for certain things, for shortcomings or whatnot, and being able to like say pick up the phone and call someone and say, hey, I'm struggling. This is what I got. Because I think that for me, I hit my breaking point when we had a special session.
Yeah.
Because I was about to hit my breaking point. And I needed just the support there. But just what seems to be trivial to others, big to us. You came down from Virginia to be with us, and that's
break bread, hang out.
Yeah.
But you, like you said, it's you. What you guys don't see, you guys see on here on Voices of Crack, or we'll get a little slow with talking, but. When that camera cuts off, man, we've had tears, we've laughed, some of us have said cuss words. I won't say which one of us four have all said it, because we all have probably. But that's the part of, and those of you guys that saw Matt and I used to do my podcast, and this is another of my favorite part, is I did my podcast for a while, and it was me and Matt, and we have a guest on, and we talked through kind of this stuff. We kind of scratched the surface on this stuff. And then it went away, and we stopped and kind of did that. And then this came back around. I'm like, okay, this is what we try to do before. No, we had ladies on, which was fine. But you go to the dad perspective, which is where I think we can make the biggest impact on this country and this world, is through dads, because some people have had great dads, not so good dads. Some of them don't know. That's the biggest impact, because we have the most influence on people other than our kids, our spouses, our coworkers, whatever. We have that. And I think that's where God sent for me, because we had talked like, hey, we're going to get this podcast going. We're going to get the community going. Like, hey, what we got going with the community? I'm like, man, let's do this. And you called that day. I'm like, I'm in. I don't even think you got it all out of you. I'm like, hey, I met this guy, Devo, and Eric. We want to do this podcast. Yep. I'm like, he's like, you're like, what? I'm like, no, I'm in. When we doing it?
Yeah.
Like, it just felt right, and it just feels, it's so smooth too all the time.
Well, if you go back to the very first conversation we had, I remember it was a Saturday. I was like, these fools want to get together on a Saturday?
Yeah, it was.
That's prime real estate, right? And next thing
Don't they know it's football season?
Right. I was headed to Greenville
Yeah, that's
to
right.
shoot the ECU game.
That's right.
We talked on the whole
You pull off the
time.
side of the road on one of them.
Oh my!
I can't listen to music. I can't talk to my wife. Like, I'm talking to these fools the whole time.
We talked for like 3 hours. We were on the phone, just chopping up, laughing, having a good old time, and I think we're just on and popping from that very
It was
event.
done after that.
Like, it was done. It is.
Listen, if you get men to talk for longer than about something other than sports, or something other than cars or whatever, something that they're, you get a group of guys that are all basketball guys, you're going to talk about basketball, get them to talk about anything else, it's not going to happen. We've talked about everything for 3 hours, an hour and a half or 2 hours once a week, and then we do it all throughout the week.
Well,
That's crazy.
Here's the deal. Let's talk about this. It's because it's been said so many times is that we're dads and we care about our kids, right? Yes, we're dads and we care about our kids. And the big thing is, we say it all the time. You want, as a dad, your kid to be more successful than you.
Yep.
And if you don't make your kids more successful than you, have you hit the mark?
Right.
Yeah.
True.
As a dad, I had 2 goals. One, to get all of my girls graduated without
From
being
where?
pregnant.
Well, yeah.
Out of high school.
Yeah.
Just in general. We go kindergarten. Then they do graduations for everything now.
Right.
Kindergarten,
That's
5th
just
grade,
high school.
8th grade.
Like high school's real, man.
Right, high school is real.
But
Right.
your daughter's getting ready to graduate from where?
The University of North Carolina. Whoop, whoop. Can't wait.
Chapel Hill.
Can't wait. Chapel Hill, where the Jordan brand was established.
Right.
And yeah. So anyway, that whole thing is oh, excuse me. The second thing I forgot. Sorry. So the first thing is graduate high school without being pregnant. The second thing is to make sure that they do better than me and their mom. Like, you got to do better. I don't care what it is. You just got to do better. Yeah. And so I think sometimes I may push a little bit too much, but it's all out of love. But it's just, this society is just rough, and we have to make sure that we continuously, I say, push pull, because we got to give them that love, and we got to give them that little too, just to make sure there's a good supportive balance there, and making sure that we're pushing them forward.
Absolutely. That's our job.
I thought about that. And if I thought about that from the boys' perspective, 2 things. I'd say
Same thing.
Same thing. Don't get nobody pregnant if we're gonna go ahead.
I wouldn't think that. I would probably. I would probably convince, or at least encourage them to keep their mom as the standard. For example, I hope the lady ain't watching because I'm about to talk about you. And we were at a restaurant this past week. We were at a restaurant this past week.
Check and see. Make
She
sure.
was reconnaissance, though. I give them that.
I'll start going like this.
All right,
Hold on, let me see. Nah, you good. Go ahead.
I would tell the story. And just walk in, got a booth by herself, and proceeds to get on her phone, and whoever she's talking to is just every time I'm talking. So at first I was like, what is that noise? I thought it was just a speaker in a restaurant. Whatever.
Right.
But imagine people here, our table, directly behind her, there, directly behind, and all you hear is this whatever. Sounds like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. So it's to draw attention to it. Okay, I don't have anybody to eat with, so I'm gonna draw attention to myself. Or I don't have earbuds, so I can take this call and mute it, so only I hear it. But I'm gonna just have this big audience. And I got to the point where I wanted to say something. Kept telling her, I'm gonna say something. I don't know, but I'm gonna say something. Until I stuck my leg out in the walkway to actually pivot to get up, and she knew that's what I was about to do. And she put her hand on my thigh. I was like, nah. This lady, she might be packing. So
Folks be crazy.
I put my leg back down, and I said, well, if I can't say nothing to her, I looked at my son and I said, don't bring that home. Right? And because that grates me. Of course,
Y'all, the boys were 3 at the time. They didn't know what he was talking about.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Dad, bring what
I
home?
said, don't bring that home.
Yeah.
Because like I said, your mom has to be the standard.
Yeah.
And so, if I think down the road, if I'm wanting at least 1 or 2 things to happen, I want to be proud of who they bring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not going to date.
Right.
Not to say they're not going to do that. But when it comes time,
I'm about to teach them.
I just don't want that to happen. And I know that might, the ladies that are listening might say, oh, he's bougie, yes, I will discriminate when it comes to a lady that is not meeting the standard like their mother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put it out there.
Yeah.
There's expectation I don't have
Sure.
because, I don't want to have to go beat somebody else's beat somebody's dad up because my kids.
I know he's
No,
sitting
no.
down, but he's a big dude.
But no.
He dapped me up the first time, and he hugged us like a bear.
But I'm saying, like, because I don't want my boys to go and disrespect some fathers.
Right, you don't want to. Right.
Yeah,
and not
right.
fight.
Mhm.
So I've got to teach my boys that there's a standard, and
Yep.
as long as you look at your mother, that's the standard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And think about what she's accomplished, what she's done, how pure her heart is, and what she's trying to teach you from a
Absolutely.
31.
How she talks to you guys, how she talks to me,
it's a
how she talks to
virtuous,
other people.
You know, so that's where that one would come in. It's like when it gets to that point, I'm not going to say you can't date and you can probably explore and experience, but you know, you gotta have a standard, right? There's
Yeah.
gotta be a standard, you know. And that, for Ethan, a little different than Evan. I just want him not to be gullible.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, your kids are different. We
Yeah,
talked about your
yeah.
kids are different personalities, different things, who they are.
Yeah.
Back to that whole skin your knee thing. I think it's important to show your kids when you skin your knee.
Yeah.
What you do.
Well,
your
oh, yeah.
failures.
Now,
And
Real quick,
yeah.
because I feel like Aaron's gonna see this replay and she's gonna like, this mother called my son gullible. I need to explain. I'm not saying gullible in a bad way, but because his heart is so big.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
well, I think
Absolutely.
people that have a big heart
That-
get
that
gullible,
take advantage
naive,
of,
they get taken advantage
all
of
that stuff.
for
So
sure.
Have some type of blind street smart and
Sure,
some knowledge about. I don't want to take advantage of. Oh, that looks like a really nice guy. Or that's this, that, and the third, and your career could be ruined, or
Sure.
your scholarship could be taken away.
True.
Or somebody who cares nothing about your life don't necessarily get in the car with the person because you just don't know where they're going to take you.
Right.
So I want to make sure that if I'm teaching that type
You
of
have to.
skill,
Yeah.
You have
to
to.
not be gullible in that spot because he's got so much to give.
I always have said there's two parts of school. You were a principal for a long time. Two parts of growing up and going to school. There's school, that's 50%, but the other 50% is street
Street
smart.
smarts.
It's living everyday life and being able to make those proper decision making
Those quick
again.
decisions.
Yeah, that quick. And again, I think it's a disservice that some people are doing to their kids because you're over.
You're not allowing them to.
You
you're
gotta
not
allow
to
them.
do
You
that.
gotta force them.
Yeah.
Allow them and force them to get up there and treat. Another one of my favorite conversations that we've had too is talking about the respect of opening doors, shaking hands, and looking people eye to eye. You know,
The luggage on the airplane.
Yeah, the luggage on the airplane.
That's huge.
It's huge.
That's
to
huge.
me.
Now every time I fly, I'm like, oh, somebody
Yeah.
better jump in and put that up there for
Yeah,
her.
and
Like,
if you just
I'm
watch it
always
for the
looking.
first time, what happened? It's a pet peeve of mine when I watch men stay seated and watch a lady put her bag. And I'm not necessarily saying a young lady. I mean, I watch this man sit here and watch a 70, 80-year-old lady trying to struggle to put her bag up,
Bro.
and he's sitting right there. But I also, a few weeks later, a couple months later, I watched a young man right away take the lady's bag. Can I put your bag up? He put the lady's bag up. And then I stopped on the way back to my seat because you got to appreciate that. You got to let them know.
Yep.
And I told the young man, I said, "Thank you very much for what you did."
Mhm.
And he said, "To be honest, my mom and dad were both military, and if they'd have watched me not help that lady, then it'd have been on." And that's what it's our job, right? And I love, you've talked about your boys, and we talked about our kids. We have to teach them these proper things, and it's up to us. For sure. That's another one of my favorite things.
You said that, and you guys don't know this, but I called Matt when I was there. So when I was flying, I don't know where I flew. I think I flew to, was I flying to Florida? Flying back from Florida? I can't remember where I was at, but I'm on the plane. Oh, I'm going from Charlottesville to, I think I went to Florida. I don't know where the last place I went. What is today? But I'm sitting on the plane, leaving Charlottesville, early morning flight, and I'm sitting on the plane, and I look over, and I'm like, that's Channing Crowder that does the pivot. I'm like, Channing Crowder, what the heck is he doing in Charlottesville? I'm like, so then I'm looking I'm like, all right, where's the other two? Like, who they
Ryan Clark.
ain't nobody in Charlottesville, Ryan Clark, where's RC at? So I get off the plane in Atlanta, and everybody valets their bag. Listen, valet your bags, don't pay for the fee. I'll tell you how to do it. Anyway, so I get off the plane in Atlanta, and I'm like, I got Matt in my mind, like, hey, you need to pull these people, help the people. So I get off, and they pull the big, that has everybody's valet bag. Well, everybody's standing in line. I'm like, I'm cutting in line. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So I start pulling everybody's bag off. I'm like, there's all these women and men, old, young, doesn't matter. I'm like, I'm just going to pull these bags off. That way people can get them. Nobody here is helping me. So I'm pulling the bags off and I'm not even doing my thing. Well, I'm like, I'm going to leave mine for last because everybody be gone. I can go. Well, I pulled the last bag off. Well, it's Channing Crowder's bag in my bag. So I'm like, I pull it off and he's got his hood on, whatever. And we sit there. So him and I start walking. I was like, hey, man, I just want to say I'm a huge fan. Like, what you guys are doing, RC. I was like, where's the other two at? You doing a podcast in Charleston? And he's like, nah, man. He's like, I was just up here for a golf tournament. I'm like, oh, you were Chris Long's water boy. So him and I started talking. We walked up the jetway, me and Channing Crowder doing that. And he's like, man, I got to go, bro. I got to go. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, I left my wife back there somewhere. He's supposed to catch another flight. He's like, I don't even know where she is. But I say that to say that I have that whole thing going there and pulling these people's bags off and then have a great conversation about what it is that we do. And that's what he does too. He's like, we were with Penny Hardaway and we were with Lane Kiffin. So he was telling me all the stuff that we're now seeing this week. He had already done that the week before. And he's like, hey man, what do you do? So we start talking, but it was so cool. You don't know what you're going to do and help people and who you're going to meet by stuff that we hear, that we're sharing. It was just a cool experience. I'm like, if I don't get these people's bags off, I'm going to have to tell Matt that I didn't do. I'm going to have to tell Matt. And then you meet somebody like that. It's like, hey, this is what we do. It was so cool. It was just a cool lesson to learn.
Yeah.
It was very, very
We got
cool.
to step our game up. We got John Gray. We got Channing Crowder.
Yeah.
We got to step our game up.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all got to get it right.
Well, I will share with you. I was in the dollar store.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, I was in the dollar store.
I was
And,
spending that money.
That's right.
Here it comes.
It
This
should
one I
be
was
called the $1.25
$1.25
That's
store.
another story for another day. So this young kid was checking us out. I was like, man, he is really doing a good job. And if you know me, you know how tight I am, right? So it kind of hurts me.
They put the tight, frugal people on this side. Y'all know how frugal I am. Yes, man, too.
Yeah. So the guy was killing. He was a young dude, probably couldn't have been more than 17, 18 years old. And he was hustling, he was doing his thing. And the lady in front of me, she was like, man, you got great parents. They did a real good job. And before she even said that, I was like, Devon, you got to do the challenge. This is the best place to do a challenge in a dollar store because it's only going to cost you $1.25, right? Not $2. So I went and I was like, hey, feel a little hungry right now. What's the best candy bar y'all have?
That's awesome.
And he was like, Payday. I was like, is that the one you would eat? He was like, yeah. I was like, you know what? Let me get a Payday. So I went over there. They didn't have any on his little checkout stand, so we had to walk around the corner. He walks around there with me. He picks out the Payday. He scans it. I pay, and I start walking out the door. And I turn around. And I was like, here you go, man. Have a great day. And I tossed it to him.
That's what's
And I was like,
That's
oh
what's
my
up.
gosh. Like,
Didn't it feel good?
it did feel good.
Yeah.
Man.
And it only cost me $1.25. Like, that was
Meanwhile,
like dipping.
at Food Line, they're $2.
Right.
I've been to group chat. I'm like, hey, I hit 2 of them today. I'm like, I'm out 5. You out $1.25. That's cool. I loved because it's the shock and it's like what? Like I told y'all that we had the 2. I'm like, what is going on? Like they just don't. And for those of y'all that missed, was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? I challenged them, and then obviously you guys too. Of when I go to the grocery store, and I've taught Hudson to do that. It was kind of going back to what Eric's teaching was his sons is going to the grocery store, and I'll ask the cashier, no matter the age, whatever. Hey, if you were me right now, and you were hungry, or you were taking a break, or whatever, what candy bar would I get? And they'll tell you their favorite candy bar. So I would get 2 of them or 1 of them, and grab something else, and then pay for it, and then hand it to them, and just tell them thanks for doing a good job. That's what we're talking about. So little ways to make an impact. On our end, it's a little. Clearly, Devo's like gonna do the littlest. He's gonna do the littlest bit. Like, is there a 50-cent store? But you still feel good. You get a bubble gum. Oh, you want the little bubble gum? Right, I get you 2 of them. There's 15 cents a piece. But the impact it makes on them, because now I walked into the grocery store the other day and they're like, hey, sir, how are you? Like, it just clicks to them. Right. And it's making that ripple effect. And hopefully, look, Devo did it. I know you guys have done it, but hopefully they do it.
Yeah.
And you haven't done it
I
yet?
haven't done it yet.
Come on, Eric.
But
Yeah.
hey, look, I spent $400 at Sam's Club buying all these things for the homeless. So that
You
counts.
can't get a
That
single candy bar at Starbucks. I mean, you got right. You got to get the case and then hand it to every single one of
We
them.
did like 4 or 5 products per bag.
Yeah.
50, 60 bags. All over Greensboro.
Oh, you be a Reese cup? Let me go get this
That's
case
funny.
over here because I can't get a single Reese cup from Sam's Club.
That's awesome.
Hey,
All right.
man, but look, let me tell you, like, so about that, we had big Resurrection Sunday at Destiny, and the ice cream truck was donated by one of the members of the church. Kids get ice cream, and they're happy to, chasing the eggs and getting ice cream, fish fried, all kind of stuff, man. I'm telling you,
Dang,
shout out to
I'm
these
down.
folks. Great time. We had a great time and stuff. Well, because of Resurrection, there's so many people there. We parked at the very end of the church and had a little walk to the truck. But the truck was parked up against where the interstate is, where the highway is. There was this guy. I wish I was lying, but I'm not. So I assumed that maybe a parent like me is like, you ain't putting that ice cream in my car. You eat it all,
Right.
toss it out. you
Right.
know. Well, there was one clearly that was tossed on the side of the road or whatnot. The guy was walking and he literally bent down and picked it up and just started eating it. And kind of maybe had like aftertaste and threw it back down.
Right.
And I saw it and I was like, no, he didn't. And so I got in my truck and blew the horn. Well, we brought the remaining bags to church. And so I said, hey man, sorry to bother you. Let me bless you. And gave him a bag. He was like, oh man, that's better than that S. Like, hey, I tell you, you're the Lord. I just want to and he took the bag,
You know that thing tastes like asphalt.
But he took
That is
the bag,
awesome.
And I'm telling you, that did something to me.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it was, not to be seen, but someone did see it because they blew their horn and they actually gave him money. And he ran across the street grabbing money and stuff like that. And so Erin looked at me. She said, "Look like you started a movement."
That's it.
So I was thinking about you because we
It
were coming
is.
out. We were coming out of the movie
Love
theater when you were telling us about it and stuff. And I told Erin, I said, "Erin, Josh done started something. And I got to go over here and buy some candy for somebody." And she was like, "Well, when you done bought all these bags? And stuff, give it a week or two. Like, you got to pass."
Can you wait till you get paid next Friday first? Like,
They gonna go to the store and be like, "Did you say Starburst was your favorite candy?"
All right,
You know?
Look, we got 4 minutes left. So this is what we're gonna talk about. Y'all ready? I want y'all to tell me where you want this thing to go. We've been here 5 months.
Ooh.
We've been going at it pretty hard. Let's go around the room and where do you want this to go? What's our goal? What's our goal? And we'll say by the end of the year. What do we want to have happen? Let's hear it.
It would be cool to see how technology can work in our favor to actually have a live audience where we can have Q&A and field Q&A from our members. Shout out to Amy.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
It just shows the evolution.
Like
of
this,
how we
like
interact.
us being in like an auditorium or somewhere, streaming it live, plus have a live audience.
I am going to have, because of an opportunity with a family member, I will set up some evenings at the local McDonald's and give some shout outs to them because of the relationship I have with my aunt. But it's more for advertising for them, but
Sure.
some stuff for her.
Yeah.
But I'd like to put some butts
Yeah.
and seats there.
Yeah, we're looking for places, so churches, any
Chicken
kind of
nuggets,
business,
barbecue
any kind of
sauce.
business. We want to be live. So
Yeah.
right
I
now
think
in
that's
the
a-
greater North Carolina area,
I think that's the
we go to Virginia.
we go to Virginia, we come to Charlottesville. I think
Yeah.
that would be the biggest thing. I think we've kind of talked about it, but I would love to have like a professional dads on the road.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if we go to, a youth night, or one of the things at my church in Charlottesville we have 4 campuses. They do a 5th Wednesday. So like next Wednesday is the 5th Wednesday of the month. There's 2 of them obviously for the year, but they do this whole blast out for all of middle school, high school kids from all the campuses. Like, it would be cool to just be able to sit up in front of teenagers,
Yeah.
or sit in front of a men's group. We do a men's conference every year, like a 3 or 4 hour men's conference. Food comes in, barbecue, all the fun. All the fun. We have the women's one is first, and then like a month later we have the men's, and we have like barbecue and all this stuff. They get all jealous because they don't get barbecue, and the women want barbecue. So probably have to do that. But I think being live,
Yeah.
being live in front of an audience to be able to just do what it is that we do, play off each other, give our experiences, and then the Q&A. I think a Q&A is huge.
Yeah.
We can get that on the comments and we can go back and we can watch that. But I think, we got an hour. It'd be cool to have, I don't know how long you guys want to sit here and listen to us talk. We could talk for a while. We could talk for a minute, but I think that's probably the biggest goal of the year, for sure.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's definitely getting on to a live event. My dream, if I could have my wish, I would love to be a part of Thomas Road in Lynchburg.
Ooh, yeah.
They do a men's retreat, and every year they have
Tebow and
Tebow. I think
Bradshaw
was there this year, and
all those guys.
what's the quarterback with the massages? He came out 4 years ago.
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, before
Was
Deshaun Watson was there like it was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, no
Before he started
fault to
getting-
Thomas
right.
Road,
No,
but anyway,
no.
big shout out for that. But no,
Yeah.
they do a weekend, a men's group, and it kind of reminds me of Promise Keepers. I think
Yes.
I'm really showing
Yeah.
my age now. But Promise Keepers was like the mega men's event to go to. And it just shaped so many men. And so now Thomas Road, their men's weekend is the closest thing that I've seen to it. And I would love to have a
How
breakout
cool would
session
that be?
where we present there or just get up there and talk and just share our vision. Not our
Yeah.
vision, our
Yeah.
hearts.
Our heart.
Just show
Yeah.
our hearts for men because when one of us wins, we all win.
Yeah.
And that's truly the way that I think about this whole endeavor is like just open yourself up
Yep.
and God will bless you.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
Because even when we share our faults, people win.
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely.
We've shared, like, even with the younger kids, like, we've shared our stuff. We're like, we've done this. You're like, well, shoot, I ain't doing that. I'm not gonna mess up. But that's the thing. You
Yeah.
share the faults, share the good, like you said about the kids, but share the faults. And you're like, man, I should have done this. Well, hey, I can't do it again. I can't go back and redo it, but you can do it. Or somebody else
Yeah.
can do it and go, hey, my kid's 10 and they're gonna do that. So I think that would be amazing.
I learn more from what I shouldn't do
Yeah.
than stuff I should do or things that I've gotten right. I learn more from things that I've gotten wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think that whole principle could be carried out as well.
All right, we're after 10 o'clock. This went fast. I think, real quick, one of the big things I'd like to do is get more men involved. We want more men involved. We have a website that's getting created. We have our community that's getting created. So once we do that, Braden shared the link inside of the chat here. So go join it. We're just starting to put stuff in there, but be part of this movement. And then, like I said, grow this community of men. Let's get more men involved and let's keep doing it. Let's keep bringing the goodness. You know what? The honest answer is, everybody, not that we don't love you. We appreciate you watching, but we don't care if you're watching or not. We're having a good time.
With or without you.
With or without you.
With or without you.
With or without you. Go ahead and get us out of here.
We out of here. We out of here.